Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Glory Reds podcast. It's your boy Don Benito. And this weekend, man, Brighton, that thorn again, that pebble in our shoe. When the hell, or when are we going to get rid of this team? When are we going to put this team and show them, like, listen, you guys just came from the championship. Like, you have been in the league 4 years. You've come here, you've come to the Premier League and started causing us trouble. And I'm not fucking with it. Like, I am annoyed. Brighton are an annoying team, especially when they play against us. And yesterday's game was just another one of those ones where I was just like, this Brighton team has not been particularly good. You look at where they are on the table. They are where they are because of how they've not been particularly good. Because normally you would expect Brighton to be up there, top 6, top 7. You know what I'm saying? They are right there with the football and everything that they've got going. You know, Brighton is the team in the Premier League that teaches other teams how to invest and budget on players and blah blah blah. Screw them. You know, they came. You know what it is. I don't know if you guys know the inside jokes between me and Pastor D, but Pastor D hates Leicester City. He doesn't fuck with Leicester City. He doesn't understand. It's like, where did this team come from? How is it winning the Premier League? Like, what the hell is going on? So he has always had that thing with Leicester. Now, my Leicester is Brighton. Yeah, my Leicester is Brighton. I looked at that game yesterday, and honestly, truth be told, that game, okay, we lost, but I don't think we deserved to lose, in the sense that we could have drawn. And when I say we didn't deserve to lose, I'm not taking away from what Brighton did. I'm literally putting the microscope back on the players. That these players, like, I don't know what it is that they need in order to know that they're playing for Manchester United. Because every other team, their players seem to understand, seem to get it. But for our players, they don't understand the gravity of playing for Manchester United. They think playing for Manchester United is playing good this week, and in the midweek you can skive, and then in the weekend you can, and then come back next week and play. Nah, with Manchester United, it is every fucking game. And how these guys don't get it is something that beats me. But I'm not here to cry and say, oh my God, Manchester. Nah, because this is something that a lot of you are expecting. I was probably expecting it to a certain extent in the back of my mind. And I say that because I had already been saying that I see this team doing better. I see this team climbing up the table. Now, a lot of that is going to change. Now, my ideas or my positivity changed when I saw Ruben Amorim's presser. I think it was, I don't know if it was the post-match. I think it had to be the post-match. And I think it was after Southampton. Or was it an embargoed version? I'm not too sure. But it was right between Southampton and Brighton. And he said something that stuck with me. And I am the kind of guy that likes to listen to the gaffer. I did it with Eric Ten Hag. I did it with Jose Mourinho. I did it with Ralph Rangnick. I did it with Ole. You know, I listen to my gaffer, and I usually try to understand and get all my information from the gaffer. Now, Ruben Amorim, since arriving, has been, when it comes to communication, he has been hitting it right on the nail. You would think that Ruben Amorim has been a Manchester United fan all his life. It is crazy at the way he is, at the way he articulates himself, and the way he explains to us the situations that are happening at Manchester United. It is beautiful. And one of the things that he said, he talked about the up and down, because prior to that, he said, listen, I've seen what my players did against, I think it was Liverpool and then Arsenal. You know, he saw that his team has got a different side to them. You see, so he was expecting to see so when they were speaking to him, he was asked what he will see or what he's expecting from the players, And he said that he would see from the Southampton game. It would tell him a lot. Now, I don't know about you guys and everybody else. I know the Southampton game. I don't know if people are going to remember, but that Southampton game wasn't very good. Wasn't particularly good. I mean, for us to come back in the last 12 minutes of the game just tells you that that game wasn't good. We won the game, but the game wasn't good. Now, at that point, I think it was the post-match press conference, Amorim says that we are going to continue to suffer. We are going to continue to have this up and down season that we've been having. Now, the moment he said that, I was like, damn. And you can imagine, this was after I'd already said, no, I think these guys are going to make it there. Now, who am I to sit here and start saying that these players are going? I'm not there. I'm not at Carrington. I'm not at Manchester right now. I don't even know what these guys are training. So who am I to think that these guys are going to pull a rabbit out their hat? Who am I to think that these players are going to make it into the Europa League or like have a Europa spot or make it into, like, who am I thinking that? Why am I not listening to the gaffer? And with that being said, I want to say I apologize to those that were that were misled by me, because I had no intentions. I was just personally feeling that these boys can do something for us. Now, I'm not going to sit here and start saying that I'm bashing them. I'm not bashing them. This is something that we're used to. I just thought that these boys, based on certain displays, the game against Arsenal, the game against Liverpool, there were certain games that showed these guys that these guys can actually do the business. So I got carried away as a fan, in my bad, and I've come back, like my common sense has come back. And after watching that game against Brighton, looking at how we were being dominated in certain plays, when I was looking at our keeper situation with Andre Onana, it just baffles me. I don't know. Manchester United for the very longest time has been a team that's sort of afraid to attack balls. I don't get it. I looked at that first, was it the first goal? No, not the first goal, the second goal, the one that was a header. And I look at how the flight of the ball, and I look at how Onana just looked at it, and and I get frustrated, and then I think to myself, Onana, we gave you a chance because you're the number one goalkeeper. The gaffer actually trusted you to go out there and do the business. We think that Altay Bendi needs to be given a chance. If we take you out, then your spirit is gonna, it's a whole thing. It's a whole fucking thing. Why did we get rid of David De Gea? Look at what we are right now. I'm sorry, those goals yesterday were on Onana. For me, they were on Onana. He's the goalkeeper. He's the commander-in-chief of that box. He commands Wagwans in there. He's the only human being in that pitch that is allowed to touch that ball or manhandle it in that box. How is it that he... it's saddening. It really, really is saddening. So I'm not going to sit here and start going in on the players, because we already know what these players are all about. You look at the likes of Ugarte, we're hearing these stories that these players are tired and all of that. And I'm thinking to myself, this is new. It is new. But then the immediately when I see all that, and the first thing that comes into my mind is, why are we not strengthening our squad this January? There are 10 days left to this transfer window. 10 days. 10 or 11, whatever the fuck. This window's clear. We cannot bring in players. We'll have to wait until the summer. Now, surely as Manchester United, we are not thinking about relegation. I'm not thinking about relegation. I'm not. I refuse to. These players get relegated, it's on them. Like, it is something that they will have to carry with them for the rest of their life. They are going to be the team in the modern era, because United has been relegated before, but that was in the Futex. That was in the, what I'm saying? Now, they are going to be the first team in the history or whatever, in the modern era, in the Premier League era, to be relegated. That is something that will stick with them. And I honestly do not care what it does to them. I do care about the young players. You know, the Kobe Mainos, the Garnachos, the Xerxes, the Hoylans, the Mazraoui, the Delict. When I say young players, I'm talking about young players that are for the future. These are 25 and below. These are the guys. I feel sorry for them because some of them within that number, they're playing their part as Manchester United players. The rest are not. So when Ruben Amorim comes out and says that, listen, we're going to continue having this torrid time, he comes out and says this Manchester United is arguably the worst Manchester United in Manchester United history. You know, when a manager comes and speaks like that, you can't get mad. You can't, like, it hits home, like it touches the soul. It makes you feel small. I felt small listening to that. I felt so insignificant. I felt like, wow, how the mighty have fallen. You know, we can't go into conversations now with anybody because Fulham supporters can be like, yeah, shut the fuck up. We bent you guys over. We smacked you. We can't talk dip. You know what I'm saying? Manchester United doesn't have that pull anymore. Manchester United doesn't have that fear factor anymore. Anybody can chat shit to us, you know? Hey, full tech. Yeah, you. Yeah. We are that. It's like we are that old Bali or that player that still thinks he's got it, but he doesn't have it. You know, like he's past his prime and still thinks he's, you know, when the speed is not speeding and the turns are not turning, you know, you realize that, bro, you're not it. And it just feels like Manchester United is like that. Granted, we do have the right man for the job. Amorim is the right man for the job. Don't get me wrong. Don't get it twisted. There is no other manager that comes into Manchester United and do this job. I'm sorry. And this manager is sticking to his guns, and I think we need to continue supporting him. My issue is Ineos. My issue is Ineos now because what the fuck is happening? You come here, you tell us about this PSR and what rules, then you don't do anything. We look at the left back situation, you guys come tell us point blank that we're not looking into getting that. Our signings or players that were linked to since the beginning of the transfer window have already gone to clubs. What are we doing? What's the plan? And then Ineos doesn't come out and speak to us. We just keep hearing rumors, journalists, this. Nothing from the Ineos, nothing from the club. That's the thing that is frustrating because we need to know. We need to strengthen our team. Otherwise, it is off. But then, looking on the bright side, and don't get me wrong, like this is in the most weird way ever. This is what I've been praying about. This is what I've been looking for at Manchester United. This is what I've been asking for at Manchester United. I told you, I wanted a period where we are not playing in Europe, where we have got no obligation whatsoever to travel far, to do whatever. Nah, Monday to Friday training, finished. Unless Carabao sneaks in there and FA Cup sneak in there. But then the only thing we are focusing on is the Premier League. Now, that for me is the true test of seeing whether Manchester United is going to come back or not. I gave you the examples. I keep giving these examples so that it's a reminder. I want people to go back and remember Arsenal, Chelsea. These are the very significant clubs because they did exactly what it is that we have just not had the chance to do. People talking about papering over the cracks. You know, you can't shine a turd, you can't polish a turd, blah, blah, blah. We're talking about, hey, these players are this. We need a complete reset. Something that these players are doing constantly, and Europe doesn't offer that. I'm sorry. Because when you think about Europe, you're thinking about so many things. You're thinking about the opponents. You're thinking about how you're going to play them because of their form, how everything. It is complicated. There is no chance. You look at Ruben Amorim complaining, saying that we've had 7 trainings in 15 games. Like, listen to what he is saying. And then you add on top of that the interviews, the amount of interviews. This guy is born. I think he's done more interviews than he's actually done training. You know? And we sit here and we wonder, Now, for me, I can only say that I think during that period is the only time, because they would have been drilled so much with this system that it would be difficult to hide for any player. Any player that doesn't get in with the program after this stint or during that period, I'm sorry, you don't belong in the club. You don't get it. You need to be moved on. And I don't think we're going to be thinking about that. I don't think we're going to be seeing that. We're going to be keeping players that we should be getting rid of because they're just not getting within the system. And that's the problem that we're going to have. In fact, that's the problem that Manchester United have. We hold on to players. We hoard players like nothing. Players that don't do anything for us. Ruben Amorim says that he's not changing his system. He's not changing it. Get it in your head. He's not. And if these players don't get in with the program, it is what it is, man. You know, if relegation is where we are headed, then you know what? I still don't think we're gonna make it there. You know, I still don't think we're gonna be relegated because it's just. But I don't think we're going to burst into Europe, and that, for me, is the biggest story for me. Because us not making it into Europe is, it's reset. It is like it is a complete reset. I'm sorry, like there's no other way to put it. It's a reset. The players get to focus. There's not too much hype. They're not being spoken about too much on the in the newspapers or whatever. The only time they're getting spoken about is after the game. Now, if you have nah, man, that's the only time. So if we are not to make Europe, so be it. But here's the thing: there's Europa, there's the FA Cup. Europa, we win Europa, direct Champions League. We win FA Cup, directly playing in Europe. So you see how complicated it is. It's like, and the thing is, our team is capable of doing that. Like once off game, we were capable of doing magic. So there's always that element, and I just don't know. It's almost like you wish that we're just very consistent, you know, just like this is crazy. And now we're jumping into the transfer news. Who's in and who's out? So far, nobody's in Manchester United. We were linked to Colomwani. We were linked to Nuno Mendes. We were linked to Nipan. We were linked to Alfonso Davis at one point. Like, we've been linked with so many players, but nothing is coming through the doors. Nothing looks even concrete to come through the doors. But what are we doing in the outs? Let's talk about that. Antony, our Brazilian Despin, could be heading out. Real Betis have expressed real interest in him. Now, the thing about his transfer, which I'm getting annoyed by, is not like it's not like a Sancho situation. It's just a loan. He's gonna go to Betis, do his thing, and then come back. There's no option to buy. I don't know why. Why are we not trying to get rid of Antony? Because at this point, he's not going to dethrone Ahmad. And him coming off the bench, he doesn't offer anything. So clearly we need to strengthen that side. So we need to get rid of Antony. We sell him, prepare the money for another right winger. Rashford, his story is tricky. The gaffer was asked in the presser, the post-match presser, about Rashford. He doesn't want to talk about Rashford. I think, and I've said it also, I'm not going to talk about Rashford, but I think what he said just put a nail in the head, you know, about this situation. Like, he did it. He did this situation with Rashford. He's like, I'm not going to pick a player that's not something along the lines of picking a player that's not fit for the squad. So, listen, that's your answer. It's finished. Rashford is done at Manchester United. So I think it's best that journalists stop asking the gaffer about Rashford unless they see something different, like unless Rashford is in the match day squad and we see Rashford coming in off the bench because of something. I don't know. But I don't think we're going to be seeing Marcus Rashford in the near future. Like, he's gone. Now, with Marcus Rashford, his situation is tricky. His situation is a touch and go. It's delicate. 1 minute you hear AC Milan is interested and busy looking at that situation. Next thing you hear Barcelona are interested. What does Rashford want? We don't know. Because he always thought that he was going to be at Manchester United till death do us part. But my friend, you are not putting in the work. So now you have to go out there and look for, you need to look for work, man. You need to look for a club that's going to take you and your attitude, that which for some reason has just changed and become ugly. You know, you're supposed to be Mr. Manchester United, our academy boy doing the thing, but here you are, bad boy, outcast, excommunicado, you know, pulling faces, like it's clear, you know. So with that situation, I don't know. With Rashford, we're gonna have to wait and see. That's all I can say. And then Taro Malacia as well. I hear there's a loan. I don't know what is it with Ineos and thinking about loans, getting our players out. Like, you're trying to get rid of players when we don't have players. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? You get rid of Taro Malacia, who've been playing Delo in that left back position, who has been bad. So in other words, you're playing Delo, meaning that you don't trust Malacia. So you don't think Malacia is there. So why the hell are we trying to loan this player and not trying to bring in a left back? What the hell is going on? Ah, man, the Glazers were smooth with this. I'm sorry. The Glazers were smooth with this. And when I say they were smooth with this, I'm saying the way they handled this whole Sir Jim, Ineos, and us. Because nothing has fucking changed. I don't give a shit about what Ineos has done thus far. But then when the club is in shambles and in situations like this, and there's no communication from them, and there's nothing that is coming out from the club, like, who gives a shit about what's happening? Who gives a shit? We keep on crying. The manager is crying out for players. He wants players. But what are we doing? Now we're complaining about PSR and FFP, you know, financial situations. Like, we are, I don't know, man. I don't know. My club has a way of doing the business on you. Remember what I used to say? You know, do you know what we call Manchester United here in Tanzania? They call it ugonjwa wa moyo. Sickness of the heart problem. That's Manchester United for you, baby. But in overall, I am enjoying the journey. I am happy. Like, I'm disappointed that we've lost games. Don't get it twisted. Don't get me wrong. I'm hurt. My heart is painful because I am a fan. This is my club. But the journey that we are going on, I'm loving it. I understand where we are. I am with Ruben. And I think we should all be with Ruben. I think we need to support him. I think if there's anybody that deserves any sort of friction or being called out, it is Ineos. Ineos and the Glazers, we need to start putting the ball back on them and saying, yo, can you guys communicate better with us? Because, man, I just want communication from my club, man. I'm sick and tired of hearing all these stories and not knowing. Why can't we have that with our club? I've never trusted Ineos when they arrived. I don't trust them now. And my trust level keeps on diminishing every time. Especially now with these 10 days. Because you might say that we don't need transfers. But when you look at our squad, we need people to come and help. I can sit here and tell you that we need another midfielder to help boost. Because whenever we take out whenever we take out Manu or Mainu, Bruno slots in there. When he slots in there, it's never a good game. Especially when he's without one of those, it's always a bad game. Then we have to trust these other players in that 10 position to do the business. They don't do it. So I can tell you right now that we need another central midfielder. Maybe preferably a defensive midfielder. Because Ugarte is more of He's more of a box to box. He moves around. We need somebody to sit there. Who? Zubimendi is going to, I don't know, Man City or Liverpool or Arsenal. I don't know. But who could have been the perfect candidate for us. We need another midfielder. If we can't get a defensive midfielder, then we need a central midfielder. We need someone in there to help. Because in situations like this where the gaffer's coming out and talking about Manuel Ugarte being tired, and then you look at Kobe Menu, the longer the game goes, the knackered he looks. Like, then other than that, then we go into the academy and bring those Russian boys, or we bring the Fletchers, or we bring Collier in. Let Collier get some game time because he's got energy. So it's tricky, but at the same time, I'm loving it. This Ruben was the necessary shock we needed. We thought that it was Erik ten Hag, and to a certain extent, when he arrived in the beginning with the laws and laying down the rules and stomping his authority, we thought that we're heading in that direction, And to a certain extent, I gotta give Erik ten Hag his props. He did sort of have some sort of stability and shape and discipline. It's just when other players decided to do their own thing and then it became. But I think we have a manager that understands people, that understands football. He's been there, he's done that, got the t-shirt. So he's really, really locked in. And I believe if he is given his war chest to go to war, Ruben Amorim will become a problem. Because if he is literally told of the player, like, now I know we don't have this system now because of the new system, and hey, we've never had this system in a long time. It's not working for us. But when you you always had this thing of like the manager is the one that picks the players that brings into the club, right? Because he's seen them. He's seen them play against rivals. He's seen them play against him. So he's like, there's a player there. So usually we used to, well, that's how I assume things used to work back in the days, together with the scouts, of course. But the manager used to have a say, like that player I want, because he's the one that is arranging this team, right? He's the one that is setting up everybody, and he knows the kind of character, he knows the skill set that he needs for his team. You understand? So if Ruben Amorim is given that veto, which he's not, they took that veto away from him. I don't know why. Like, they gave it to Erik ten Hag, but they took it away from Ruben. They took it away from the more astute guy, or the guy that really gets what's going on. They've taken that thing away from him. Now, if they were to give him back that veto and say, listen, man, who are the players that you want? Just tell us who it is that you want, where you want to look strengthening. I can guarantee you that Ruben Amorim is not going to go out there and look for high-profile players, expensive players. He's going to look for these gems. And these gems are going to come and do the business because he gets it. His system, I've understood now that not anybody plays it. I was one of the people that used to be like, yes, Ruben Amorim coming in this 3-4-3. I even had a video where I talked about the players that we have are going to suit Ruben Amorim's system. I was wrong. I was wrong on so many levels. I was wrong because I failed to understand something. In fact, I forgot it. And that is, for a hybrid formation, there are certain players that do extra and certain players that don't. Truth be told, that this 3-4-3, there are certain players that are going to do extra. We're going to do more than the others. And that's how it is. That's just how the formation is structured. It is what it is. And because of that, you need a specific kind of player, a character that bombs forward all day, every day, like from sunrise to sunset, without complaining, and actually getting his business done, tackling and offering support up front when it comes to attacking. That is needed. That is a very specific thing. That's why Ruben Amorim was successful, in Porto, and because he had players. You saw when Mateus Nunes left, it was a gaping hole for him. He had to bring another player with different. It is what it is. And I was wrong in thinking that this 3-4-3, our players, they can make it. Yes, some of them have already adapted. And I think a lot of us and the fans and everybody, we've already seen the players that we think are going to move forward when it comes to this lineup. We already know Ahmad is one of the first names in that sheet. We know it. Xerxes is slowly but surely staking his claim as our number 9. I was very impressed and pleased with his game. De Ligt, Mazraoui, Harry Maguire is of age, but he is there. Manu Ugarte, Kobe Mainu, Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes, I left him for last because it's a tricky one. Bruno is playing like a player that we don't need. And if there's going to be an example or a point where we want to show strength or ruthlessness or whatever, I think we need to get rid of Bruno. And when I say that with love. I say that with love. I say that with admiration, because that is my magnifico. Ever since he arrived, he has turned my world around at Manchester United. He has given me the reason to believe at certain times. But of recent, the last 18 months of Bruno's career have just not been good. And he's turning 30. I don't see it getting any better. I like his tenacity. I like his work ethic. But there are certain things that he does as my captain that I am just not cool with. Even in the game. I like the whole thing of him being in charge. I like the whole thing of him being the conductor, the orchestrator, and making sure players are here and there. But him individually, he needs to work. Something is not right. That Bruno that we used to have, that Bruno that was a maverick, thinking top of the, like fast twitch brain, high IQ, everything Bruno. Like, Bruno could... You guys don't understand Bruno when he arrived in Manchester United. He was so deadly. It was wild. So for me to sit here and look at the player that he is, like, if this is the sign of a player that's on the decline, then we might as well get rid of as soon as possible. I'm not happy. And the funny thing is, if you take out Bruno out of that team, we suffer. That's the truth. But the thing is, with him being in the team, I don't know what it is. I don't know if these guys don't do video analysis. I don't know if they don't, because Bruno is Bruno, that they don't directly go to him and tell him, Kak. I don't know what it is. But there's something that, I don't know. And the funny thing is, Bruno comes out and says the right things. He's a captain, but his performances are just below par. Way below par. Like, it's nah. Like, every now and then we're expecting a goal from Bruno and an assist. Like, we have to think like, okay, he didn't get an assist or a goal this game. He probably not get an assist and a goal the next game. We have to wait that other game. That was not Bruno. Bruno was every game. It was every game. And now I'm seeing him having this role where he needs to calm down. He needs to get it together. That's why I was pissed off that time when he almost got that red card, where he was being petulant. Like, listen, you're the captain. We get it. These refs are there doing their thing, but we need to stay calm. We need to stay on course. I don't know what the future of Manchester United holds. What I do know is that we're not gonna be relegated. My expectations of the boys has been shot, and rightfully so. And it's on me. It's on me. I did that to myself. I wanted to have a moment. I wanted to believe in these boys. But now I've reverted back to default settings where it is what it is. The game that they're gonna give us is the game that they're gonna give us. We're not gonna sit here and start hoping and saying that, nah, this is what's going to be. I'm not doing that to you guys anymore, because I know maybe not. Maybe I would literally really was the only one that was thinking that Manchester United would climb up. But yeah, thank you everybody for listening to the Glory Reds podcast. It's your boy Don Benito, and peace.